first thing I noticed just looking at the choices that might help me later, I'm not going to jump to a conclusion, but for instance, and specifically kind of mean the same thing. They're ways of providing an example. So if they both have the same meaning, that really doesn't bode well for either of them being right, because how would I know which one is better if they mean the same thing? So that's not a good sign. Just to round things out, we know that by contrast kind of means but, and then in conclusion is fairly kind of obvious, right? It's a summary of some kind. So let's see if that fits. Let's see what we got. A firefly uses specialized muscles to draw oxygen into its lower abdomen through narrow tubes, triggering a chemical reaction whereby the oxygen combines with chemicals in the firefly's abdomen to produce a glow. So this is just a description. When the firefly stops drawing in oxygen, the reaction and the glow cease. So this is describing the glow. This is the not glow, right? When it's not glowing. That seems like a contrast, right? By contrast, when the firefly stops drawing in oxygen, it stops. Okay, yeah. Now, it's definitely not an example, right? Because it's all kind of the same example. So A and C, I thought were going to be wrong. And even just thinking about their meanings now, it doesn't make sense, right? This is all just one example of how the firefly kind of works. So it's not like the second sentence is an example of the first, right? Like even as we said, it's an opposite. It's telling us how, like when it stops working. So those don't make sense. And it's not a conclusion either, because like I said, it's a contrast. It's not summarizing what we just said, right? In order to use something like D, we would need the second sentence to be summarizing the first. They're saying opposite things. So by contrast is a perfect fit here. We're talking about it glowing, then we're talking about it not glowing. That's about as big of a contrast as you can get.